Dan, thank you for accepting to be on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Phil.
Yeah. Let's have a brief introduction. So, you've been in the insurance business for a long time.
28 years.
28 years. So, that's, you have a lot of expertise in this business.
Or at least experience.
A lot of experience. And as full disclosure, I insure with Dan. So,
and I appreciate your business.
Thank you. So the first thing, let's talk about your agency a little bit. Just tell us about what it is, how it grew.
Sure. So after about 20 years in claims, 18 years in claims, I decided that going in, being an insurance agent, and using all the knowledge that I got would be helpful to clients. So in 2007, I entered the program with State Farm. In 2008, I was appointed an agent in July of 2008, right before the market crash of 2008 in the fall. So it was a very harrowing time to start a new business.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was they say when a farmer asks the animals to provide breakfast, for pig is committed, but the chicken contributes. So I was the pig. I had no go back. So I had to succeed.
Yes. Cool. So what are the big numbers of your, like the big KPIs of your agency?
Well, I had the distinction of setting records in production when I first started. So my production records and my growth in my agency, the first 6 or 7 years were pretty phenomenal. I've been an agent now for 11 years, and I've specialized pretty hard into the commercial business as a result of just my interests, I guess I would say. But right now we're sitting at about a little over 3,600 customers. Premium volume is one of the largest in Southern Arizona, if not the largest, for State Farm. And my retention rate is very strong with my current customers.
So what does that express exactly, the retention rate?
So every time a customer gets a premium renewal, they get to vote with their pocketbook as to whether or not you've provided the services for them to stay on as your client. Either you're providing a competitive product, a competitive service, or your agency takes care of their needs as they come up. And with the exception of folks moving out of town, or every once in a while we'll have a billing snafu that's a company issue, not our issue, my retention rate is over 98% of my current customers.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Great. Shows definitely that you're appreciated.
Well, I like to think that I have a wonderful team that takes care of customers. I'd like to think that when it's done at the end of the day, the culture in our office really is customer-centric.
I see. All right, so the podcast is hell of a change, and that means we're talking about one action that you do, that you have implemented in the past. You may continue doing it, or you may have stopped it, but at some point it explained a lot of growth. It created growth. So let's frame it. How would you describe this in brief terms?
I think most agents are either going to be they're going to be fire agents or they're going to be auto agents. So in my case, I went to the fire side, which is commercial and small business agents. And I find a lot of interest in trying to meet those needs because the small business owners are ever changing and their needs are ever changing. And you're always, there's a certain complexity to business clients that make it kind of fun to do. So with that in mind, unknowingly or unwittingly, I ended up starting to really go to see my clients, help them with their safety needs, help them with their workers' comp training, help them with their safety meetings, and get in front of their employees. And unwittingly, what ended up happening is I started getting a bunch of referrals from current client employees that I kind of went, wow, I wonder what's going on here. So typically, one of the big things that you find in insurance business is that when you do a quote, your closure ratio on raw business, that folks that don't know you, is 8 to, let's say, 20%. That's a pretty luxurious number, but more like 14, 15% closure ratio from the time you do the quote. So if I quote 100 people, I'm going to get 15 policies out of that, which isn't, that's kind of the nature of the business. But on referral business, you're 70, 85% closure ratio on. So if I quote 100 people, I'm going to get 75 to 85% of that business. And the more that I'm out visiting clients and taking care of current clients, I'm finding that when a new startup comes in, or a new restaurateur, a new nail salon, a new person gets started, that I get a lot of referrals from existing clients because the new business owner will call an existing business owner and ask who their insurance is and whether they do well for them. So by taking care of my clients, it has really helped foster a lot more referral business, which is a lot more closures for us and has accelerated our growth.
Great. So that frames this thing. Let's take a couple of examples.
Okay. Recently, I had a client who sold his business to another client, and we were able to retain the business based on his recommendation. The new client is going to open up 14 locations in the next 3 years, 14 to 15 locations. They've already got in the works 3 right now, and they're planning some massive growth in Arizona. Obviously, that's been a good client for me. When I go in to see those clients, when I go in to have those safety meetings, when I go meet with the owner and or just go to that restaurant, I interact with the employees. The more I interact with the employees and explain who I am and what I do, I get referrals. The more I'm in the office, the less busy I am. The more I'm out of the office, the busier I am. I get their employees walking up with a driver's license saying, "Hey, can you take down my information and here's my email and send me a quote?" Sure.
I see. So that's a very recent example. Give us the first couple of times you did that.
So I had a client who had a large boiler in their operation, and that boiler had a hose that fell in a burner. As a result, the hose caught on fire of the boiler, and they had some pretty good damage. It was an easily avoidable accident, an easily avoidable incident if I had gone out there and looked at it. And I thought to myself, I need to pull a list of all my clients and go take a look at their operations to make sure they're good. Now, some of them are like, no, I do that myself. I don't want that. And other ones are grateful for it because they run multiple businesses or multiple locations, or maybe they're even out of state and they have a general manager and they want a second set of eyes looking on it. But I have prevented, I'm going to guess, a dozen claims by doing that. Obviously, when a business has a claim, they have insurance that's going to cover the claim, but that doesn't stop their customers from going to other businesses because they're not open. It doesn't stop some things are covered, some things are not. Obviously, their profits during that time when they're down from an insurance standpoint are not as great as when they're open. And then, they potentially lose customers that find other alternative businesses when they're not open. So the more a business is open and can do what a business does well, they succeed.
So how does that relate to what you were talking about, the referrals?
So when I go out now and I do my walk around, my safety walk around or my safety meetings, we look at all those things. Those employees see that I care. Those employees see that they have somebody who they can trust and call. And that's what I get calls for. I mean, I literally had I had one business get broken into one night about 2:00 in the morning. And the next day, their cash registers and their POS system were completely gone. By getting there at 4:00 in the morning, we were able to assess things, and we were able to get equipment shipped in at 8:30 in the morning. The supplier opened it at 7. We were able to give them a check, get open. When they opened their business at 11 for lunch that day, they were able to do business. They were not down.
I see. So the employees noticed that.
Right. And they like, wait a minute, you're at our location at what time in the morning? And you got us a check and you made us make sure that we could get a paycheck. And we want that.
I see. It's kind of leading by example here.
Well, I mean, it's providing a service and going above and beyond, or what I think, I don't know that a lot of insurance people do that, but I do it because it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So you implemented that action, and that was early in the existence of your agency?
No, I'd say it's been in the last 5 years.
Last 5 years?
Yeah, and I think the thing that's really interesting is, there are different industries where you're doing sales, right? Sales is being sales. But the insurance industry is kind of like being a gardener. I'm not going in for the kill. I don't eat what I kill. I'm not a car salesman. I don't get one up and I'm done. I'm building relationships. I'm taking care of the garden, tending the garden, making sure that all of my existing customers' needs are met to the best that I know how to do, and making sure that I assess them, that reassess them and look out for them as their business grows or changes over time.
Get it. Fantastic. So when you started to implement that created a growth differential.
Correct.
In your business. What is the percentage here?
So in the past, I would grow my fire business, fire being commercial business or apartments, condo associations, that kind of thing. I was writing about a 2% growth rate year over year in that segment, and I was pretty integrated into the community. But since doing the safety checks and doing the being out and about and doing the workers' comp seminars, we're up to about 12% growth in that segment. And we kind of lead the city in commercial business and do pretty well in that segment.
Is that a recurring growth?
Yeah, so it's what I call geometric growth, because what happens is once I retain the existing business and I continue to grow on top of that. So or that existing business continues to grow. That they open an additional location or an additional how many ever locations.
So over the last 5 years, what would you say this particular action, referral, value-added referral, how much growth did that procure over 5 years?
It's probably been a little over, just in the commercial business alone, it's probably been over $1 million.
That's a huge number.
So in the personal lines growth of the employees, I'd probably say, I don't know, it's not as, it's more product, more policies, and not as much premium volume, but I'd probably say it's been $400,000 to $600,000 in employee policies.
I see. Fantastic. What's the personal question? What motivated you to go in business and stay in business?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I sat down and started writing a business plan, and it was a requirement to get into being an agent, and I had a vision for being a different kind of agent. I had a vision for having an office that was comfortable for clients that could come in, that didn't feel like an insurance office, that was soft and gentle. I had a vision for having staff that really were focused on the customer. And then the other thing that motivates me to stay in business is I know I can make a difference, and I make a difference in customers' lives every day. So I'll give you an example. I had a customer who was considering opening an additional product line, and we did the research and did the quotes, and we realized that the amount of money that he would make from opening that additional product line, he would make more money by literally giving it to another company to make for him that did it better, but he would make more revenue by not doing that product line. So I look at myself as almost a consultant at times, not just an insurance guy. I look at the numbers. Do the numbers make sense? And if it's possible, can we get rid of segments of their business that are not making them money and increase the segments that are so they continue to grow?
Very cool. So last question. What differentiates Dan-Com agency the most from the competition or other State Farm agent?
Well, as far as the competition goes, competition has an 800 number you can call 24/7, but nobody's going to handle your claim or help you immediately. They're going to give it to a claims person the next day. You might get a call within a day or two. If you go to Google.com and you look up Dan-Com State Farm Agent, or you go to Facebook.com and you look up Dan-Com State Farm Agent, you're going to see that my cell phone is published on both of those pages. And my cell phone is published with the distinction that if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and your house is on fire or your hot water tank bursts and you need a place to go, I'll get you in a hotel room. I'll get crews out there and get things started before our claims folks even.
Did that actually happen?
It has happened several times.
Right.
I had a customer come back on New Year's Day from being in Puerto Penasco 2 years ago, and their water line and their ceiling had burst, and their house was a disaster. I was up there putting them in a hotel room that very day. I've had immediate needs where a house is on fire that they're still rolling up fire equipment, and I'm on scene. And we're gathering belongings, and we're getting folks to a hotel room, and we're taking care of them. So I think the thing that I do for folks is, I have a lot of experience. I don't know if expertise is the word, but experience for sure. And I know how to get claims going and how to get people started. And I don't mind doing that. It's what I do. And I think that makes a big difference for folks, because an 800 number is great. And if you can save $10 a month over calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning when your house is on fire, I guess that's what you need to do. But trust me, when it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you see my smiling face roll up with a checkbook, you're going to be a pretty happy camper.
That's right. All the more for being loyal. Okay, great. Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much.